Hello everyone, I'm Paul and this is problem 1872, Stone Game 8. This is a reasonably hard problem, so next I will show you my thought process and efficient solution. Alice and Bob are playing a game where Alice starts first. In this game we have a row of stones. Every element here corresponds to the value of a different stone. On each player's turn, the player can remove at least 2 stones from the left of the array, add the corresponding sum to the player's score, and place a new stone where the value is equal to the corresponding sum. Let's see what this means here. We start with Alice and we can remove at least 2 stones from the left. Let's say that we decide to remove these 2. The corresponding score is -1 plus 2, meaning 1. Now we need to place a new stone here using this score, 1. And we need to repeat the same process. Next we have Bob's turn, we can remove at least 2 stones, and so on. We repeat the same process until there's only 1 stone left. Our job is to return the score difference between Alice and Bob, considering that they play optimally. The score difference is given by Alice's score minus Bob's score. And this is an interesting paragraph. How do we increase this difference? Well, by increasing the left part, right? This is Alice's goal. And how do we decrease this difference? Well, by increasing the right part. This is Bob's goal. So both players are trying to increase their scores. But this is an interesting paragraph because this is a zero-sum game. This means that the decisions of one player affect the other player. So let's say that we're given this input. Alice starts first and we have to take at least 2 stones. So let's say that we take 4. Here the score is -1 plus 2 plus -3 plus 4, which is 2. And we have to replace all of this with a stone with the value of 2. Next, in Bob's turn, we have to take at least 2 stones. So we take these 2 and the score is 2 plus -5, which is -3. And the final balance in this scenario will be 2 minus -3. This is equal to 5. So if both players are playing optimally and we start with Alice, this is the best possible choice. Then Bob has to take this and the final balance in this scenario is 5, so we return 5. If we had only positive numbers, this would be simple, right? We could take all the elements with Alice. In this scenario, the result would be 15. Then we place a stone with 15. In Bob's turn, we only have 1 stone and the final balance is 15. If both players are playing optimally, Alice would start by taking all the stones every time. Now down here we have the constraints and we can have negative values. So how do we handle this? Let's try to explore small problems. We start with Alice and let's say that we take all the stones. Here the score will be -3. Then we replace all of this with a -3 and we have only 1 stone in Bob's turn, so the final balance in this scenario is -3. If we take all the stones, this is relatively simple. Now, what if we decide to take 4 stones? What's the corresponding score in this scenario? Well, -1 plus 2, which is 1, -3. This is -2 plus 4, this is 2. And how do we get the corresponding balance? Well, we should subtract the scenario that we are missing because of this choice, because remember that this is a zero-sum game. So if we choose something, we are losing something. So the question is, how do we get the corresponding next scenario? Well, for this we are using dynamic programming. So we have a one-dimensional DP array and the base case is here at the last index. What's the balance if we take all the stones? Well, it's the corresponding sum, -3. What's the balance if we take all the stones except for the last one? Well, we need to take the corresponding score here, which is 2 minus the scenario that we are missing because of this choice. And where do we have this scenario? Well, in DP at the next index. This is a -3. And 2 minus -3 is equal to 5. So here we put a 5. And just to be clear, how do we get this number? Well, in this scenario, we are taking these 4 stones with the first player, right? So Alice's score right now is a 2. And we replace all of this with a 2. Next, in Bob's turn, we have to take these 2 stones. So Bob's score is 2 plus -5, which is -3. And the balance in this scenario is 2 minus -3. This is exactly how we get a 5, this 5, okay? So we are solving small subproblems and using those results to solve larger subproblems. And we are still standing here because we are missing something very important. Here we are deciding to take these 4 stones, but we might have to take all the stones because remember that we are playing optimally. So here we have to keep the maximum between this value and the previous value, -3. The result is 5, so here we keep 5 and continue. Next we are standing here. What if we take the first 3 stones with Alice? Well, the score is -1 plus 2 plus -3, which is -2 minus the scenario that we are missing because of this choice. Where do we have this number? Well, here at the next index, it's a 5. -2 minus 5 is equal to -7. So here we could use a -7. But maybe we have to take the first 4 stones instead, or the first 5 stones. So where do we have the result? The best result of the previous scenarios. Well, we have it right here. So we take the maximum between -7 and 5, which is 5. So here we put a 5. What if we take the first 2 stones? Well, the score is now 1 minus the scenario that we are missing because of this choice, meaning 5. The result is -4. So here we keep the maximum between -4 and the result of previous scenarios, meaning 5. And just to be clear, remember that here we keep a 5 because it's best to start by taking these 4 stones. Finally, here we keep the maximum between 5 and -1 minus 5, which is -6, so here we put a 5. So where do we have the final result? The answer is here. Why? Well, remember that we are going in reverse, so the final result is in the left. And we are choosing index 1 because we have to take at least 2 stones. We will never see a scenario in which we take only 1 stone, so this is the final result. And the next question is the following. How can we make sums more efficient? Because remember that from here we need to take the sum of all of these. Here we take all of these. Here we take all of these. So we are repeating a lot of work. How can we avoid repeated work and answer some queries in big O of 1 time complexity? Well, with something called prefix sum. So let's see how this works now. Let's say that we are trying to get the sum of these 2 elements efficiently in big O of 1 time complexity. The result should be 1, right? But how do we get this number? Well, the trick is that we can have a prefix sum array. Here we store the accumulated sum plus the current value at each step. 0 plus -1 is -1. -1 plus 2 is 1. 1 plus -3 is -2. -2 plus 42 and 2 plus -5 is -3. So once we have this, we can take the value corresponding to the right bound minus the value corresponding to the left bound -1, and 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. That's how we get the result of this sum. And just to be clear, here we take the sum of all the elements up to the right bound minus the sum of all the elements up to the left bound -1. That's how we are left with this chunk, which is exactly what we want up here. Okay? In this scenario, we always consider scores from the start of the array. So for example, how do we get the sum of this range? Well, we have that number right here. We should take the right bound minus the left bound -1. But given that this will always be out of bounds, it's always a 0, which means that in this range we have a 2. For example, in this range, the sum is -3 and so on. Overall time and space complexity for this approach is big O of n. Why? Well, first we have to create and build the prefix sum array, then we have to create our DP array, and we have to iterate all the indices of the array that we are given in order to get the final result. So with this in mind, now let's go with the code. First, we can say that n is the length of the array stones. We need a prefix sum array, which is an array. Here we can use stone 0 times n. And for the rest of the indices, we go from 1 to n, and prefix I is equal to the accumulated value prefix I -1 plus stones I. We need a DP array. This is an array with 0 times n, and we can say that the last value of this array is equal to the last value of the prefix sum array. And for the rest of the indices, we can go in reverse from n-2 to -1 in steps of -1. And the corresponding value in the dp every time is the maximum between the result of previous scenarios. For this, we take dpi plus 1 and the current scenario. So how do we get the current score with the current number of stones? For this, we have a prefix sum array. Remember that we only need the right bound, so we can take prefix I, and we need to subtract the scenario that we are missing because of the current choice. Where do we have this number? Well, in dpi plus 1. After all of this, down here we can return dp at 1. Why? Well, remember that we have to take at least 2 stones every time. So this is the entire code. Let's submit it and see if it works. As you can see, this works and it's very efficient. So if you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.